Players that clearly have immense talent but aren't consistently able to play to the level of their natural ability is by no means a rare thing in the NBA. And it's a very interesting topic that I want to talk about in today's video. Now, some players on this list are older and younger, different points in their career, but today we're going to be talking about 5 NBA players who really need to prove themselves in this upcoming season for different reasons, but they all have the same goal of needing to prove themselves either again or still needing to prove they are a good NBA player or even a competent NBA player. They're all at different points in their career, but today, as I said, we will be talking about 5 players that need to prove themselves this NBA season. And the first on this list is Cam Reddish. Now, Cam Reddish is one of the most interesting players in the league if you look at the variety and wide range of opinions surrounding him. There are people who think he's super talented and he still has Paul George-like potential. Now, it seems very unlikely he reaches that label or ceiling he's been given, but still, he's a player that has immense talent and two-way potential. But it's been potential for a while. He's had good spurts of play, but he hasn't been able to put it together consistently. And people thought maybe he could do that for my New York Knicks after he was traded, reunited with RJ Barrett as well. But Tom Thibodeau didn't give him consistent playing time, and he did also continue to deal with injury struggles that he has dealt with throughout his short NBA career so far. And in year 4, it's a big year for him. His contract is expiring. He has to prove he can be an efficient NBA player for a whole season, which he hasn't done, as we said. Had some good scoring performances for the Hawks when they had players out with COVID as a starter, but still, their on and off numbers without him were better than when he was on. And he has ability as a defender, but he does slack off sometimes. If he can just reach decent efficiency levels and give consistent effort in Tom Thibodeau's system, if he's able to earn minutes, I think he could still be a very valuable 3-and-D wing in this league with some scoring ability on his own. But the idea that he's going to be a star really just most likely isn't going to happen. But I still think he's a player with the upside to be a very high-end role player. But we got to see if he can stay healthy and be somewhat consistent at least. But Cam Reddish, one of the most polarizing players in the league, going to be really interesting to see what he does and hopefully his first full year in New York. Now, the next player on this list has had a much more accomplished career than Cam Reddish, and that is John Wall. But we haven't seen that from him in a really long time. In 2017 and 2018 with the Wizards was the last time we saw really even an extended amount of play, and he was hurt during those seasons too. And he played a little bit for the Rockets, but really not that much. He was in the Russell Westbrook trade originally, and really the last 2 seasons in Houston, things have been leading to either a buyout or a trade. And he finally got his buyout. He signed with the Los Angeles Clippers, who I think are the title favorite. And we know he's probably lost a step or two of that great athleticism. But still, as a complementary player to Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and a really deep Clippers team, I think he could be a good facilitator who gets buckets in some games, brings energy still. And as a 3rd or 4th option, I still think John Wall can really help a team. Possibly his defense can reach that level that it once was. But the thing is, these are all maybes because we have no way of knowing. He has to prove himself again to the league. It's been so long since we've seen a full season of John Wall, and we really don't know the type of player he is now. If he's declined since his prime 2016-17 type of days, or if he's the same player, and he's got to show us that he is, or he's close to that, or he could still help a team fight for a championship at least. this year in LA, he's got the opportunity to show it. Next on this list is another player who has struggled with durability, and that is D'Angelo Russell. Now, another player on this list who we all know is very, very talented, but has struggled to stay healthy. And this year in Minnesota, even though they did get to the playoffs, besides a few good games, didn't play very well or very consistently in the playoffs, and was benched in their biggest game of the season. He's the team's second highest paid player. He's supposed to be the co-star to Cat. And this year the Timberwolves are entering a year where they're clearly trying to take that step into becoming a real threat in the West. That was obvious with the move to acquire Rudy Gobert, and Russell's got to step up in the last year of his deal. He's got to prove he can be a consistent, decent point guard. They don't need him to be crazy as he's playing with Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns, and Rudy Gobert. But if he can just be more solid, because the thing about Russell is he has some great games and some games where he just disappears. He has improved as a team defender and as a leader, but as a one-on-one defender, he's not good. He didn't shoot well from 3 last season, and as I said, in the playoffs, they benched him in their biggest game of the season. In a winner-go-home game, D'Angelo Russell was not on the floor for the Timberwolves, and he wasn't in the Gobert trade. I think maybe the Jazz didn't want him. He's got to prove to the NBA again he can be a reliable point guard, playing a big role on a team that wants to make a playoff run this season. And if they do, him staying healthy and being a facilitator for that team would be a big reason for them going far. And like I said, I don't think he'll have to carry a crazy scoring load. Cat is a great scorer. He does as well struggle with consistency sometimes, and a lot of people around the league, including myself, expect him to make another leap this season. Rudy Gobert is a decent offensive player. He's nothing crazy, but realistically, Russell's the third option on that team. And really, he's just got to work on getting his teammates involved, shooting efficient shots, and really just giving the same effort every night. And if he can have a somewhat consistent output for this team while staying healthy, I think the Timberwolves could be a real threat in the West. I don't think this is the year they go to the finals, but maybe Western Conference Finals or second round if everything goes right in Minnesota. Now, the fourth player on this list who continues with the theme of players who have dealt with injuries recently is James Wiseman of the Golden State Warriors, who has received a lot of disrespect from NBA fans. Was the second pick in the 2020 draft, and it's been hard for him being drafted by the Warriors, who even though they had the second pick, immediately were trying to be good again and have just won a championship, being compared to LaMelo Ball and Anthony Edwards, who are obviously much further in their development and, let's be honest, better players. But that still doesn't mean Wiseman doesn't have serious potential as a player and a chance to give the Warriors a real boost at the center position next season. Now, last year, didn't play at all. Played in the G League some, but when he came back, it was playoffs time, and it really wouldn't make sense for the Warriors to mess up their rotation. His rookie season, his numbers were meh, but overall his play wasn't very good. He wasn't good on defense. He dropped a lot of passes, which was a big critique of him, and overall just didn't look ready to help winning at the NBA level, which you would expect from a 19-year-old, but the Warriors that season were trying to win again with Curry being back and Draymond being back as well, coming off that really disappointing season. Now, going into year 3, as I said, the Warriors are coming off a championship year, and Wiseman brings a mobility and size that really nobody else on this team has, and the Warriors are obviously a very versatile team, but the reason he was picked so high is that he's so young. He has an NBA-ready body. He's a 7-footer who can run the floor really well, and he has some shooting potential. Isn't there yet, but NBA evaluators do believe there is a shot he could become a decent jump shooter at the NBA level. Shot a bit threes, we see the training videos. We'll see though, but if he can just be a decent rim runner for the Warriors, could set screens, and really the big improvement I think the Warriors need to see from him is his finishing around the rim, his physicality, but really his defense if he's going to help them next year. He's got to be more physical, and he's got to be more aware at the defensive level, and I think there's a good chance he will be. He's such a talented young man, and he's in a great system for player development. I really think as the season progresses, he will get more minutes. And the Warriors have a very good young core. I think with Stephen Curry, Jordan Poole, well, Stephen Curry isn't young, but I'm just talking about the core of the team. They have a chance to be good right now and for many years. And I think James Wiseman has a real chance to be a part of that. The last player on this list is also from the 2020 NBA draft that Wiseman was selected in. And we have talked about on this channel before. And his situation has definitely not gotten better since, and that's Killian Hayes of the Detroit Pistons. Now, the last video we made was during the season, and he really, towards the end of the year, he played a bit better. But obviously you see that every year, guys, just random guys going off at the very end of the season. Overall, as of right now, he's a straight up bust. In year 3, he's got to be a lot better leading that Pistons bench unit because they drafted Jaden Ivey and he won't be starting. And I mean, there's easily a scenario where he's just not part of their future right now if he keeps playing the way he's playing right now. He can't go right. He doesn't have any offensive confidence, but the defense and passing is there, and we know this. If he can just be decent on the offensive end, go right at least somewhat, and hit a decent amount of threes, model his game after someone like Lonzo Ball, as we've said, be a 3-and-D guard who can run a pick and roll occasionally and play off other on-ball players. He can mold himself into a decent role player who has, as we said, he still has exceptional passing ability and defensive potential with that length at the guard position he possesses, and he's a decent defender right now. That's probably one of his best qualities as an NBA player. But the offense right now is just not NBA level whatsoever. We all know this. And it's all about confidence, and it's all about offense in terms of his improvement. That's the final player. And in year 3, I mean, he's still got to prove, like I said, he's got to prove he's an NBA level player still. And it's going to be really interesting how he adjusts in Detroit with now them adding Jaden Ivey and really no clear path without an injury of him starting, how he embraces that role on the bench. And that's the last player on this list. Let me know what you guys think, who I miss. Honorable mention is Pat Williams from the Bulls. We talked about him in another video, I believe, but I thank y'all for watching, and peace out.